terms?
You know, I think that there will be some victories, but I want to be very careful to say that if they win, it's not necessarily because they've actually grown and developed since 2012. It's because the political.
All right. We're going to wrap. Thank you very much for being with us. Good job, Sabrina Schaefer. I'm Dennis Neal. We'll be right back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show.
What if I told you that you can reverse age-related weight gain? Over 219,000 people have watched a free video at 22fatloss.com and have already used these techniques to shed unwanted body fat. If you or someone you know has been struggling with age-related weight gain, there's a free video at 22fatloss.com that reveals little-known techniques for healthy weight loss developed by a medical doctor. You may have heard about this. It's all over the internet. Watch the free video for yourself at 22fatloss.com.
Federal and state authorities urge every American family to have an emergency radio. It can save you and your loved ones from disaster. Now, Newsmax has an incredible offer for you. Get our Weatherband emergency radio free. This emergency radio picks up AM, FM, and the NOAA Weather Band. It even works without batteries, essential in an emergency. Call the number below right now and you'll get this emergency radio, plus 2 great publications, including the award-winning Newsmax magazine. Each month, Newsmax brings you the important stories you won't see anywhere else. Plus, you'll get incisive commentary from David Limbaugh, George Will, Michael Reagan, Ben Stein, Dr. Laura, and more. Ben Stein says Newsmax reveals the unafraid, uncomplicated, bare-knuckles truth about today's dangerous world. Mike Reagan says, I guarantee that you'll love Newsmax magazine. This emergency radio offer with Newsmax magazine won't last long. Order online or call the number on your screen right now.
Meet John and Nancy. They've spent their lives working hard and saving money, knowing that it would pay off in the end. But unfortunately, all that hard work and smart investing has gotten them nowhere. Then one day, John and Nancy picked up a free copy of Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns. This book revealed 24 little-known investments that put them back on track to a happy and secure retirement. Get your free copy of Powerful Secrets at myfinancialage.org.
Tonight we are a country awakened to danger and called to defend freedom.
But by the content of that character. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Politics, commentary, entertainment, sports, news and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
2, 1. Welcome back. I'm Dennis Neal. We've got our panel back. We've got Peter Morici and Rick Ungar. And why don't we start, guys, where we just left off with Sabrina Schaefer, our guest, on minimum wage. She came out pretty strongly against raising the minimum wage and said it actually will hurt women even more than it hurts men. Rick, what do you think?
Listen, I love Sabrina. I don't know that that's true at all. Look, you know what? What's becoming clear about this entire disagreement is that the federal government can't get it together to do anything. But you know what? More and more states and cities are stepping up and doing the right thing. So when I see mayors and city councils able to understand what our members of Congress obviously can't, which is it's not going to hurt business at all, and they're raising the minimum wages, then I have hope. I think
it doesn't hurt business. It doesn't hurt to lay off 500,000 jobs, like the Congressional Budget Office says.
No, they said it might lay up to, number one, and number two, this has been
Hold
predicted
on.
with every increase in the minimum wage.
Go ahead, Peter.
It never happens.
It said its mean estimate was 500,000. Its upper bound was 1 million.
What's happened the last couple
It is an
times,
absurd proposition to think that you can raise the price of any service and not have its demand diminished. Now, for some things, the elasticity of demand is low. For example, say the services of a physician. If people have health insurance and you raise the copays, it's not going to affect that much how often they go. However, with minimum wage workers, there are technological methods available to substitute for their services that will be implemented. Now, if we raise the minimum wage from $7.25 to $8 or $8.25 to put it in line with the change of inflation since the last time the president approved the minimum wage, which is 2009, the consequences won't be large because businesses expect it to be adjusted in line with inflation. But if you raise
Peter,
it to
they want to raise it to
$15
$10.10.
an hour, you raise
Over
it to
how many
$15
years?
an hour, then all of a sudden, with all of the other benefits, New
No
York
one's saying
City,
50.
for example, requires you to provide every full-time worker and Obamacare and all the rest, you're talking about a labor cost for someone who merely punches 6 when you say Big Mac and hands it to you of $40,000 a year. Those checkout kiosks you see at the CVS can do a lot of that work, and half of those people
Plus,
will
Rick,
get out of work.
Right. Plus, Rick, the thing is, when you raise that minimum wage, then the guys right above them are going to want raises too, and it does kind of start to turn potential inflationary. But here's my question for you, Rick. Isn't it a false issue? We've only got about 2 million people out of 150 million workers in the economy are on minimum wage, and they stay on minimum wage an average of only a year of their entire career. Why are we focused only on this? Isn't it diverting us from real economic policy?
That's actually a very fair statement. It just keep in mind it cuts both ways. You can, as you just said, you could call it a false issue because it is such a small number of people, and yet you point out only 2 million are affected, and yet Peter's using $15. I don't know where that came from, and saying that this is going to be catastrophic.
Well,
it's not. Let me wait. My turn. Let me ask a question. In North Dakota today, do you know that to work at a McDonald's, and this is because they're having trouble finding laborers because of all the oil events that are happening there, they're paying huge amounts of monies to work at McDonald's.
That's called the free market, baby.
And guess
what?
They
should.
And McDonald's hasn't gone broke. Go figure that those people are still selling as many hamburgers. They haven't raised the prices.
But I'll bet you those hamburgers are more expensive in those stores that are paying more.
Couple pennies, and nobody seems
to care. But see, that was the free market. That wasn't government going in and telling small business you have to pay more.
That's fine, but that's a different argument.
Peter?
That's a completely different argument.
It's not a couple of pennies. It works out to about $1 for one of your numbered meals. In a place like North Dakota where they're developing oil and gas, because it's on private lands and the president can't stop it, then, we have a booming economy and it lifts all wages, including those of the least among us. If the president would get off his duff and if Nancy Pelosi would get behind it and permit us to drill for oil where we're not permitted to drill, off the entire Atlantic coast, the entire Pacific coast, the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and many places on the North Slope, we'd have a lot more places like North Dakota. We'd create a lot more jobs.
Because he is talking about how to grow the economy.
When he ran for
office, producing more oil than we ever have.
Guys, there is an issue here.
In that now Welch, we'd have these kinds of jobs, and we wouldn't be having this discussion. The problem is we do have a do-nothing president in Congress, and doing nothing begins in the Oval Office. The man has not delivered on what he ran on in 2008, and he can't run away from that. In fact, his only economic policy seems to be discouraging people from working by giving them benefits.
Rick, you know what? I think that what Peter's just said is a pivot point for us now, Rick.
Okay.
What are the chances that the Republicans hold on to control of the House and take control of the Senate, Rick?
Reasonably good. There's no way that they're not going to hold on to the House. That's just not going to happen. We still have a long time to go. If today were election day, hard for me to imagine that the Republicans don't take over the Senate.
Now, would it help our economic policy, Rick? It'll hurt it?
The question, it won't hurt it. The question that I ask in that conversation is, so what? The House is already blocking anything, whether you like it or don't like it. You may be happy they're blocking it. They're already blocking everything the president wants to do, so now the Senate will go along with them. So we're talking 2 more years until we have a change in the White House. It doesn't matter. Any way you slice it, President Obama is a lame duck president. He's the earliest lame duck we've seen in quite a while, barring a catastrophe, barring a foreign situation. It's all done, so it doesn't matter.
Peter, go ahead and wrap it up for us, Peter.
Well, I think it's highly unlikely, if not impossible, for the Republicans to get 60 votes. So some of the things I'm talking about can't be turned around. And also, the Republicans share some culpability. For example, Speaker Boehner wants to do nothing about the China trade problem and about the exchange rate. The Republicans have to get behind the kind of platform that Mitt Romney endorsed. He did get 47% of the vote in a tough situation. The kinds of things he was talking about would work. But, there's a lot of non-believers among Republicans. There are a lot of Republicans that kind of like things the way they are, and they're just as guilty. And that needs to be addressed, and that's why we don't get it done.
I'll tell you, gentlemen, the thing that strikes me here as we end up in these endless debates over the minimum wage. You know what? We're ending up debating about such small beer. And it's because we're debating over this diminishing pie. And if only we had economic growth and real economy, we wouldn't have these problems.
The pie's
now,
not diminishing. It's just not being shared in the
yes.
same way.
Okay, but I was getting the last word there, so back off. All right, we're going to be right back with you guys, and we want you to follow us on Twitter at Newsmax TV. Comment on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Newsmax, or email us and connect with us at newsmaxtv.com. We'll be back.